Hey everybody, Newleaf here, and today we're here for the much-awaited video about my Galacon 2023 experience. There were so many memories made, so many pictures taken, so here is a video where I boiled the almost 990 pictures down to about 150 and guiding you through this very weekend. So relax, sit back, grab yourself some cookies, and enjoy the ride. So like many journeys to conventions before, this one began at a train station in Germany, and we all know how punctual those are. But before I went onto the train, I had to test the German's cookie game, and look at this. Chocolatey, velvety, smooth, crunchy. Would definitely cookie again, that was pretty fine. But eventually we'd have to like rush out over to the trains and catch them because we didn't want to get late. But before the train came, we found these interesting barrels on the other side. And they said GATX. I do not know what that means. If some pony knows, maybe you can add a bit of trivia. But eventually the train would come, and we got to ride it. And the good thing about train rides is you get good views. Everybody, look at that. That was, I think, the Rhine. And it looks beautiful, especially with the sunrise. And sadly, train rides end, and when they do, things get stressful. I had about 5 minutes to make it to the other side over there and catch the next train. And I had to make like 4 switches on trains, which just added to the whole, extreme from, hey, you get to relax and look at the river, to, oh my gosh, you need to race, otherwise you will not make it to the convention on time. But after the 5th switch, I would make it to Stuttgart, and look at this. I found this curious little hint on the way out of the train station. That is because the whole thing was a giant construction site, and they had to make some structures for you to even be able to leave it. Look at this here. You have 2 minutes. Someone crossed it out and said it's 5 minutes if you have luggage. And in orange, you can barely tell it. Someone crossed that out and said it's 8 if you have a baby. And someone crossed it out even further and said it's 10 minutes if you have both. So, point being, it was not 2 minutes. You had to really jog that track to be able to make it to the next train. And of course, don't really get distracted by all the sugary sweets, otherwise you won't make it to the convention. But eventually, I got onto the last train, and I would make it to Weiblingen, where the hotel is. And you may be wondering, this doesn't look like Ludwigsburg. Have you gotten off the wrong train to leave? Well, not really, because the convention was somewhere else this time. We're gonna see the venue in a little bit, but the hotel looked pretty adorable and very luxurious. Look at this room. There is just always something satisfying about walking into a hotel room that has just been recently made. The clean sheets, the drinks that are just set up, the perfect lighting, of course. It is just something that is very satisfying to do. But the best thing about this was the view, because you could always see the trains on the other side. And that tells you, New Leaf, if you don't use your magic, you're gonna have to take this journey back. But it of course meant I didn't have to walk very far to get there. Now, of course, the most important thing about making it there on Friday is that you have to like organize yourself, because there's going to be a little bit of a meetup. And Beauty Leaf brought a present for me. This was a t-shirt which had Izzy on it, and that t-shirt is going to be very important later. But together with Beauty Leaf, we would go over to the meetup spot, and on the way there, I couldn't help but absolutely be stunned by the beautiful nature. Look at that waterfall, the blue sky. That just feels like you're right in nature. But eventually we did make it to the Schwaneninsel, which was a beer garden. They don't grow beer on the trees, but it is a garden where you can drink beer, eat German food and other traditional things, and get to enjoy what they have there. And I had this, which is a steak made from ground beef, which was crunchy, which is special textures, and was absolutely delightful to have. And while I was eating, a certain pony, who's Whirlwind and a drummer in the fandom, walked up to me because he wanted to meet him eventually. It was really nice talking to the pony, and he even had his own plushie. Look at that. And of course, bronies are herd creatures, so as we started eating, more and more would just sit down, and it became a really big meetup in just about 5 minutes flat. Everyone was eating, everyone was having a good time, and me, I just went for desserts because you gotta assert your dominance, people. And this is, I think, some kind of I think this is Kaiserschmarrn, but I think at the end it's just pancakes chopped up. Then in this little ramekin you have applesauce, which you use to dip it into. That just goes together so dang well. Then once I started to, realize, hey, I've eaten everything, I don't need any more food for what feels like at least 2 hours, start to look around, and you see the cute plushies. This is a Starlight Glimmer. Then over here we have an Izzy and some other ponies with a beer. There was a lot of beer had that weekend. Then there is, I think this is the anonymous mare with the question mark as a cutie mark. Pretty familiar face. But eventually we did have to go back because the convention started at like 9:30 in the morning and we couldn't really dawdle too much. And on the way back, we did see the waterfall again, but this time there was ducks and they were absolutely enjoying the water because it was really warm that whole weekend. And for me to cool off, I decided to get one of these. This is a cookie, which is a alcoholic beverage that has berries and ice even inside the bottle, which is just super fancy. And what goes good with drinks? Board games. This is called Equestria's Heroes, and this is I think this is a board game that has technically 2 boards. You see there is a bunch of cards in different locations, and you have to explore them with the elements of harmony, or no, not, but the representatives with the ponies, and you have to find the elements of harmony to save Equestria. I think we played it with 3 ponies, and I think that took us like all the way down to 10 p.m., which was really, really nice. And here you get to see a little bit of a montage just how big this is. It was absolutely amazing and a unique experience nonetheless. But eventually Beauty Leaf was like, Leaf, we have to get up in the morning. I'm like, sister, no, I don't need that much sleep. And eventually, Beauty Leaf kind of nagged me to go to sleep, and I guess she was right, so we did sleep. And the good thing about sleep is that the next thing is breakfast. Look at this. There is cold cuts, there is melons even, there is yogurt, there is so many things to have. And over here we have this tub of scrambled eggs. You know one thing about me, I like that. I opened it and I took it all, every pony. Everything went down my throat, and I think the ponies who made the food had to run a couple times to get more, because they were like, oh no, it's the alicorn, he's gonna eat everything again. And it just happens. They did also have cake though, and I'm pretty sure Princess Celestia kept them happy too. One of the pastries they had was this. This was a crunchy croissant thingy, which was filled with jelly, which is a new thing to me, but it was alright. But after any big breakfast, you gotta get going. We just gotta walk off all of that excess energy. And we walked over to the convention, and on the bridge we found Twilight, who wanted a book. And conveniently enough, I did always have a book in my backpack. And but the main attraction is at the end of the bridge. There is no golden pot, but there is the venue. Oh yeah, this is where Galacon took place this year. And let's see. Here we have the 3 flags. I think at this point this is almost expected. Wherever you find these 3, there's Galacon. We have one flag from I don't know what the right one is. I think that is just some regular meetup. Then the center one, of course, is Galacon, and the left one is the Pony Events Federation. And I really like the sky behind that. That was such a glorious sight to wake up to at about 10 in the morning. But what is even more glorious is this. Look at that. Cuddly, soft Fluttershy. That is like literally a brony magnet. Another magnet, I think, would be this banner, which is the new design for 2023, and the theme was retro things, stuff from the 80s and 90s. And you're gonna see a lot about that throughout this video. But going back to the plushes, we've seen Izzy. Izzy is my queen, y'all know. Even Elma wasn't, exactly so happy about it when he got hugged and all. But over here we have a tub or cart, I think it was. that has 1, 2, 3, 4. Or is it 5? I think I see 5 Princess Celestia plushes of varying sizes. And there's this strange sign at the bottom. Here we have the convention guide. Look at that. There is a Walkman? Or no, not a Walkman, but one of those things that plays cassettes. Yeah, and the hoodies too. That is like literally what people wore back then, is it now? Over here we have Chrysalis, but I also like the enthusiasm of the pony holding her. That is what it looks like when you're really, really ready and hype for a convention, and boy, were we hype. But it got even better because he turned around and we saw the pony's backpack, which is Twilight Sparkle. My other purple queen. I think there's a theme with purple and blue ponies going on, ponies. I don't know about that. Reports are unconfirmed though. But the real reason everyone was starting to turn their back on me is because everyone was started to be let into the convention. Look at that. So many ponies stormed into the convention. And my very first stop in this was that table to the left. We're going to see it again a little bit later. But they had this offer that if you go to the PonyCon Holland stand and you bring your ticket over there, you actually get a free button, and I got that button among many other things, but I'm gonna show you all my loot at the end of the video. Then let's go even further. There was not just a pony, but just a head. I don't know, it's pretty crazy how they get pony heads, but this is actually a fursuit part, and you can wear that, which is pretty curious. That's a unicorn with, is that supposed to be pink fluffy unicorns? I don't know, it could be. Over here we have this neat little table set up with a bunch of posters, but it didn't have much time to dawdle or buy anything because, well, the convention was about to begin, and I think it's probably illegal in 37 out of 40 countries to start a convention without one of those opening ceremonies, right?
Awesome. Yes! First time at Galacon!
So we got to go inside, and I do like the design of the panel, or not of the panel, but like the background that looks super retro-y. And of course they began with one of these animations. We got to see some of the style. Look at the colors alone. That is literally something that feels like it's out of the 80s. And we got to see, of course, the guests that were invited here. We have community guests, we have the guests of honor to the right side, and we have Candy in the center. The guests of honor, okay. See, the thing is, I made notes this time. We have the German voice of Pinkie Pie, the German voice of Hitch. Then we have the pony that makes the comics in the center. To the right, we have the voice of T-Rex. And then we have the voice of Izzy Moonbow on Aseni. Yeah! My notes did not betray me this time. But something else curious happened because, you know, you can't have a convention without Steph because they are the ones that really make it all work. They're the juice behind this engine. And we got to see them too, and why was this so special? Because it was the 10th installment. 10th Galacon, everybody. But then we get a little bit of a treat for being patient, and what looked like T-Rex was about to steal all of her magic because the blinds went up, and we got to see a blue, what is that, some blue ribbon or fabric? But what they revealed back there was actually a familiar face from the previous convention. This is the acrobatic pony who dances on these, and they did some pretty cool moves, but that did look so intimidating. If I was up there, I'd be making a huge splat onto the stage and fall. I am about as acrobatic as an overweight pigeon, every pony. But after the opening ceremony, I finally got to get a little bit of time, explore the stands. What did ponies bring to the convention? We have the PonyCon Holland stand along with the Epona Fest, which is the one to the right, which is an Italian convention. Could be one of those things to keep in mind. I think you could make it there with a train. I'm not sure I want that, but you know, plane would also be cool. Wait, I actually never did a plane thingy on this channel. There's an opportunity. Moving along, though, we go over to this next stand that has a bunch of cards, a bunch of mouse pads you see at the bottom there. Then I think they have pens, those golden things. And they had a little bit of train track was adorable, and I think that's keychains at the very, very top. Then we have, on the same table, if you go further to the left, there's even more scrolls and mouse pads. And I'll just tell you, ponies, keep some of the merch in the back of your in the back of your heads, because we'll be seeing some of that at the end again. Come on, there's Twilight and Luna. You know what happens when you get that. But turning to the left, I saw Fluttershy, or Jameis, checking in and depositing his wardrobe, I guess. But the curious thing, of course, is the human at the counter. You do not see that every day. You do not see a huge Fluttershy walk up to you every day and give away any luggage or something that they want to deposit. Speaking of huge ponies, here we have a giant Shadow Tempest, also known as Fizzlepop Berry Twist, for those of you who forgot that name. Moving on to another big plushie, we have, I actually do not know, might have been an OC, but of course love the energy coming out of the human. They must have had a great time, and that's always a good thing. If you come to a convention, you should be feeling like he's smiling. Then let's go further into the ocean of merchandise. Here we have a stand with cups, I think. That's a lot of cups. There is a couple notepads at the very top. Is that socks? No, I don't think that is socks. There's calendars in the center, and I think there's badges and keychains on the bottom left. You see that little spinny thing? But going forward, we have this stand where you could get some plushies if you didn't have any. I mean, seriously, plushies is like the best thing. Non-negotiable and all that. So just look at that huge Togepi. That is like the biggest placeholder. But I think this was around the corner from the previous picture. More plushies. There's Twilight, there's Spike, but there's also Pip and some of the main 5. Or no, they're technically the main 6 now. Further along, down the same row, we have even more plushies. Look at how big these are. I don't know what that chain of rocks is, though. Could be a Pokemon. There actually was a lot of Pokemon at that convention. Going from soft things, though, let's go for something really firm and sturdy. I think these are crystally lights. They don't seem to be glass or anything. I don't know what that is made of, to be fair. But those were definitely interesting, and they had a lot of different motives. To the right, I think you can see Zip. You also see some of the cutie marks of the main 6 at the top left corner. Very nice, but we didn't get to, admire everything because the first panel was around the corner, and this one was about a voice acting by those 3 ponies you see the name of. And they gave us a quick rundown as to some things we need to watch out when we try to get into it. Important is the recording space, and this is something I didn't even know. You see that box on the right picture? Apparently you can get one of those. Put your microphone into it, and that will make a room sound less echoey, which is really cool. And it looks silly, though. Imagine this huge boxer microphone, but I can imagine how sick that performs. Then, of course, building onto that, they had a little bit of a section talking about microphones themselves. There's a few that you could get, but I was more interested into the next thing when they talked a bit about headsets. And this is an interesting one because some of these headsets come with microphones built in, and those usually are not that good. And as someone who started out with one of these, I know those don't sound exactly that great. So you might want to get them separately and, make sure you learn to use them. So, besides this, of course, we get to hear about a few things that you're not supposed to do. That was some, yes, drinking and eating, of course, during these recordings is bad. Smoking generally messes with your vocal cords. And choky sounds is also dangerous. And they came to the conclusion with a few recommendations, including Ellie Ray, and we will likely be seeing her in UK PonyCon video. Also, ponies, if you're enjoying this video, drop a subscribe. There's gonna be 2 more of these coming out with a recent month. Anyway, now that that's out the way, here we got their conclusion, the socials, of all the ponies who carried out this panel, and that was pretty interesting. So, you know, give them some love. They made a great panel. It was one that taught you a lot of things and beginner friendly, which is always important. But after the panel, that means you can go back out and admire the stuff from the vendors. Look at this though. This was a huge pip. Didn't get to see her from the front that much though. But who we did get to see from the front was Vinyl Scratch, and she was upset. You see those arms? The reason that happened is because I had a Vinyl Scratch plushie, but I forgot her in my hotel room. So, Vinyl Scratch wasn't very happy with that one. But there was this creature who calmed everything down. I think this is a proto-gen. But seriously, look at that cosplay. That is sick. Can you imagine the months that go into making something of this? Because I sure can't, as someone who's horrible at crafty things. This is absolutely thrilling. But I did have the next thing to go to because there was a signing session and ponies wanted to line up, and Nugget was one of the lucky ponies to be there pretty quickly. And who were we in line for? Well, the special guests of honor. And here is a picture with me and Asani, who is the voice of Izzy. Yeah, that was such a hype moment, and I think my favorite of the whole convention. I even got to sing the TRASH doesn't mean it's waste, TRASH song with her. And it was such a blast, such a unique experience. I will not forget this anytime soon. This was super duper special. As someone who always said Izzy is my spirit animal, it felt amazing, and it was so many things. I mean, come on. Where else do you get to see Izzy with the best sunglasses? What other things did I get here? I got a autograph on my own shirt, which says, "You sparkle." And of course, there was a signature here, which says, "We don't talk about old Leaf." Yeah, that pony. He is that one family member where you wonder how you are related to him, but I guess at the end of the day, you are still family. And Izzy had this to say, "New Leaf, wow, you are sparkle-tacular." And I think that's pretty high praise coming from a pony who sees the sparkles. But what else sparkles? Food. Yes, I know we just talked about breakfast, but this is me we're talking about. Look at these pastries though. And there was cake. There wasn't a lot of cake though. Princess Celestia found out about them. That's a good way to run out of cake if Princess Celestia finds out about you having some. But the snakes are great because we were just about headed on to the next panel. Familiar. And an absolute staple at this point. Trixie wants you. And I might participate in that the next time. Seriously, ponies. Next time, might participate. See if you can beat someone up. Okay, New Leaf. Just figuratively beat someone up. The way this works is you compete with a bunch of others to become Trixie's faithful assistant in some of the many, many mini games, including archery, where they had to shoot over the stack of cans with these bows and arrows. Of course, there were toys, otherwise it would be pretty dangerous. Other minigame included this, the stacking event, something we've seen previously, and it was pretty close, surprisingly, between second and third place there on the right side. Then in round 2, we had some other games like Ninja Star Throwing, and we had... Wait, what do we even call this? Because there's the pony version. Trot Mania is the pony version, and Just Dance is the human version. Then another game that would ultimately be the final game, and also likely one of the best things, is this. You see there's this stand with a bowl at the top. There's actually a pipe, and if you throw something into the bowl, it'll go down. And what they had to do is they had to take balls of a color and throw them in there. And whoever got the most of them in a certain amount of time would win. Look at that. And after that, the stage looked like a huge mess. Balls everywhere, but ultimately someone had to tally it. And after all that was done, a winner was declared. Look at that. A picture of the winners. Such a great thing. And I think you had to like go through 4 games in total to get to this to win here, which is pretty curious. So it is a very, very great achievement. And after a great achievement like that, you deserve a bit of a break. Over here we have some, what is it? Is that a dog? A fox? I don't know. I'm horrible at telling these apart. If this is neither of these, I'm looking silly right now. Then we had Ember, familiar face from previous conventions. I think she was at Heartswarming Con as well, but definitely at the previous Galacon too. So many familiar faces though, such a tight-knit community. But on the ground we have Kenny. Someone did the thing with crayons again. People went nuts again like last time. There's so many, but we're gonna, just like last time, get out there every now and then and see what they did. Then we have, what is that? That's probably an OC, right? But here comes the big highlight. This pony, I think, has been in every single video I've made about conventions. The Heartwarming Con videos, all the Galacon videos. If he somehow follows me to UK PonyCon, I need to probably check my house or something. Maybe he's hiding there. Then of course his buddy, his Bat Pony buddy, and he was pretty cool and he gave out some tremendous hugs. But of course, Caddy was very happy to be around here again. Look at that, she's hype, everybody. She gets to be outside again. But she actually followed everyone outside and we got to take a great picture with all of these. Look at that. That is gorgeous. So many great cosplays. I don't even recognize what some of these creatures are. Wait, that in the center, isn't that like Falco? Yes, please tell me that's Falco. I'm not certain about my things here. But going further, I think Canny was absolutely the one who had the most fun. She even dabbed on everyone else. But after all was said and done, it has not been done yet. Karaoke. And this karaoke was special because for this one you get to go on stage and sing. And I lined up for that immediately. And y'all know I'm good at karaoke. So I got close to the stage and I started to sing everyone away. Sister tried taking some pictures, but her camera wasn't too good. So she got a bunch of wacky ones. But I think it was mostly the yellow pony. But after all the singing, the convention, and panels, and signing sessions, wanted to go for a little bit of a break, get some food, and we went back to the Schwaneninsel, and this time, I had what Sister had on the previous day, which is schnitzel with pommes and tomato sauce, and this drink. I don't know, seemed sugary, but it was fine. And of course, you can't really eat without having a dessert, I swear. I gained so many pounds that weekend, but it was worth it. And of course, it was super, super indulgent. And on the way back, there was Twilight, some pony, who was very amazing to me. And another pony who was carrying a plushie is, I don't know who this pony is. Seems like an OC though. The reason we went back, though, was the new event. I don't even know if it's an event, but that was the chill out room. And in that, you get to sit around, lounge, sing, perform acts, and other activities, which we're going to go over, but that has plushies, like many things. There's Twilight. And then over here we have Applejack, who was enjoying herself. This is Rarity. Wow, look at how big she is. Then over here we have Silverstream, and as the night went on, I think Twilight had a little much cider. Another activity you could do over there was the Maid Cafe, and there you got to enjoy some drinks and food brought to you by other ponies. And as someone who just had dessert, this was a tough one, but we kind of had to. But the way this works is you basically order food and drinks, and ponies dressed up like Luna here will give it to you. But Luna had a pretty good time. We talked a bit about, alicorn things. It was a very enjoyable time. Then of course the other alicorns came around too. I think at this point this just became an alicorn talk. Nothing like talking about ruling business while at a party table, right? Out here we have another Twilight. That was very nice, especially with the banner next to it. That goes well. But you gotta go and party at conventions because there is literally pony music. You get to jam out to it, and just watch them play their music, which was fantastic. And of course, I got down to the stage and danced the night away. That was some pretty great music, super catchy. And as someone who literally sings all the time, this is something I could be doing for hours. Then over here, we have a quick overview of some of the banners from other conventions. HeartsMarinCon 2020, we've been there. I think that was the only one there, but we're gonna add some more soon. But we also got to do gaming at the end, Bank of Equestria, one of the games we're probably gonna check out at some point. As a little bit of a mini game, what you do here is you have doors and there is villains and you gotta go hit them with pies. The next game is Pizza Tower with ponies and your Pinkie Pie, and you gotta play through the game. I'm definitely gonna try to get this onto the channel too. But the game of all games, I had to come back to it. I had to come back. This is my little karaoke, but no stage, but still singing. And still yellow and deadly, every pony, as I like to call it. Even more yellow and deadly. Yeah, this was pretty one-sided. But before we left, I had to go over and peek over to the chill-out room again, and then we would call it a night as we left the convention. And that means we get closer to the best thing. You guessed it, breakfast of the next day. Look at that, breads, eggs, cheese, croissants, melons. The egg basket was back again, that didn't last long. More bread, more cuts, and over here we have cereal and juice, oh boy. And Beauty Leaf was also getting a lot of food. And yeah, if you're me, you will go there many times. But since it was the last day, we had to actually clean up the room and leave everything in orderly fashion, pack everything, and then deposit the bags for when we left. But after that was done, we went through the town and just admired the sunshine and the walk to the convention. Such a great sight. But of course, here the convention is something that looks so majestic as you walk over this bridge and are ready for another day of ponies. Here we get some pretty cool insights of the convention, got to see the interior a little better. This was getting a good view of the first and second floors. This was off of one of the stairs, and this was off of the other set of stairs. But kind of had to hurry because we had to go to the voice actor panel, and we got to see a few familiar faces from the opening ceremony. And they talked a little bit about, their history as voice actors, and I wrote something down here because they actually gave us some motivational quotes, and I will read them out because somebody actually asked them to say something motivational, and I wrote it down. Anasani told that you need to tell everyone what your dream is so you find more ponies and they can help you along. Tyrix said, only listen to your inner voice because you know what's right. The German Pinkie Pie said that it's best if you divide your goals into achievable bits, and the comic pony said you should find ponies that you can stick with. Oh no, that was actually not the comic pony. That was that was, of course, Hitch. The German voice of Hitch. There we go. Jeez, my notes did betray me after all. But going forward, after this panel we got to see some more of the merch, because usually in between days, some ponies would line up more merch. And here we have keychains, trading cards, and a few posters. And I think those are glasses cleaning things at the bottom right of the table. Next table over here we have some stickers. A lot of stickers actually, some adoptables too. But I was kind of hurrying along to the next panel because this was a big one. As a gamer channel, Ash's Requester, I had to go there. And I kind of left the voice panel early to even make it here. So we get to see some of the developments of the game. What are they up to? And what they have is they have changed what they had so far in terms of the map. There is different regions here. You see in red and blue. You see different, I guess, factions of raiders. Different landmarks, and these landmarks are I guess, places that you can visit in the game, and we, of course, if you've played Fallout, you know the interiors are important. Some of the buildings you could go into in Fallout 4 and loot them for stuff. I'm pretty sure you're gonna see something like that. And one of the interiors you got to see was the inside of Stable 2, where Little Pip's journey starts. And over here we get to see her walk around a little bit. It was a little tough to see because of the screen. And you got to see a few bugs, a few features, and of course you got to see some of the cutscenes as well, but it's all in development, and the most takeaway is they're still looking for ponies, including animators, sound engineers, artists, testers. There are so many things, so if you want to help and you can do one of those things, just ask them. They're always happy to help, or to have a few helping hooves. But going back outside, Vinyl Scratch was back, and this time she was very satisfied and pleased because I brought my Vinyl Scratch plushie. And she ran away with it for 2 seconds, but I was not able to photograph that quickly. Moving forward, we finally got to go back outside and see the damage, or not even the damage, but the crayonage that was done, and look at all the pictures. I didn't get to see much of it though because I kind of was rushing to another event, and this was Buckball. Yes, the way this is played is you have a unicorn, a Pegasus, and an Earth Pony, and the unicorn has to catch the basket. Then you have defenders in the form of Pegasi, and then you have attackers being the Earth Ponies, and they played a human version of it. Look at that. There is a lot of physical activity involved, and of course I had to play and show them how we do it at Equestria, but I was not that good at it, as you may be able to imagine. But the one thing I'm good at is karaoke. I got back from war, every pony. Yellow and deadly, still true, every pony. Can't beat this pony when he's on a high roll. But over here we had him again. I don't even know what his official name is, but he looks cool. I just have this hunch he's gonna show up at UK PonyCon, and we're just gonna be like, hey friend, nice to see you again. But here we have a very curious pony, a robot Sweetie Belle, and the reason she's so important and curious because she was the star of the next panel, where the human who made her talked about her. And technically she's not a robot because she contains no sensors, but that didn't detract from the fact that she was amazing. She had bubble guns, not bubble gum, the stuff you chew on, but the bubbles that you can do with dish soap. And of course he told us a little bit about it, how she came to be, described how she's half of a car. That cutie mark is a blinker, by the way. And he told us how she was going from what looked like a cardboard box with a horn on it to actual pony, and he seemed pretty proud with it. That was a bit of a blurry picture because it kind of got a bad seat, but it was pretty cool. And then every pony came the curious moment where the last button was taken, because I made this thing where it's like, if you find it, you get a button, and this was the last one, and that was ultimately taken as well. So at that point, I was without any identity whatsoever. But I think you needed a lot of identity to go to the next event, which is the charity auction, the star of Galacon, if you may say so. At this auction, the way it works is, alright, let's see if I explain this right. You can auction, or no, you can bid for items that are auctioned. You can hoof in the items before the auction, and the proceeds go to Make-A-Wish, which is an organization that grants children that are really sick wishes. And in turn, you get to get the thing you bid on. I think that's how that works. So everyone wins, and Make-A-Wish does things like this, like taking this kid on a journey as a real-life Ghostbuster. That's something you will never forget. But let's go over some of the curious items that they auctioned, and there was so many crazy things. I'm surprised. I'm surprised no one just broke down in laughter on that stage. Over here we have a Bazam figurine with Kenny. Over here, the next thing is a Rainbow Dash doing a live Sonic Rainbow. I think that was a glowing one too. Then over here we have Asphalt, which is a flag. Or not, or no. Actually, yes, it is a flag. I think that technically is a flag, and you can hang it, but that comes from the meme that was started because Ausfahrt in Germany sounds a lot like Asphalt, and it doesn't help that both of these sort of sound like exit. But the next item on this list were some lights, some Bizarre lights. I think those are a little bit like the ones from earlier. Then over here we have a wooden book, which is really interesting, and I can just imagine this being another one of those where you sit there for months making it. That was so high quality. But the curious thing, and this was I think the first, you know, out of the ordinary thing, is this next auction item. You see this? I'm not talking about the book, I'm talking about the cup that Perry's holding. That was somehow the next item that was auctioned after she took a drink of it, and ponies cheered for signing it. Look at that. There's the cup. Even a cup is not safe, and I think that went away for 200 something. Then we have a Wonderbolt jacket, and you can't really write Galacon without Fanta anymore. I don't think they're sponsored, but at this point they are making a lot of advertisement, unintentional, might I add. This is a clockwork, or not a clockwork, but one of those clock things that plays music, and you could get it. I swear, Fanta has been, you know, taken all over the place. Then here we have a fantastic guitar, which that thing alone just screams like it has many years and a lot of emotions just poured into it. But another thing that had a lot of emotions poured into it was this banner, which was a paper that was hanging around throughout the convention. You could write things on it. I was there too, wrote something on it. But this, in turn, of course, led to the next thing being auctioned that no one expected. The pen, every pony. The pen Perry was holding was the next thing that was going away. And I think, what can we even say? I think this is, you know, this is just telling us anything could get auctioned. The next thing that would go away was Perry's hat. I think that went away for 2,500 this time. And I think that was almost one of the cheaper hats, if that makes any sense. I have no idea. But the total, I know you can't read it, but I wrote this down, came to 21,000 euros, which is amazing, and you can grant so many wishes with that. It's a nice thing to see so much generosity come together. And over here in this clip, you actually get to see and hear. You hear that? You hear all that energy? This is what it's like going to Galacon. The energy, the auction, the unity, the friendship, the magic, and of course, everyone working together and making the whole thing as amazing as it is. What a great display of friendship. Princess Twilight would be very proud of all of us, I bet. The bad thing about these ceremonies, really, is just the thing that you gotta go outside to tell you to get out. But it actually was a pretty sight. Look at the convention building in the sunset. That is something truly beautiful. But at the end of every convention, of course, you gotta take a look at all of the people who came. Look at this. Look at this bandwidth of people. There was so many people. There is a Welsh flag. People came from all over the place. Once again, I don't think I have a number, but look at that. That speaks for volumes that there was a lot of people present at this convention. Now, like previously, of course, I decided to go out and get some more food with Sister, who was also pretty hungry and famished since we didn't actually have anything since breakfast. That's the trick, ponies. Stuff yourself in breakfast and you won't get hungry for lunch. And what we ate was a Schweinebraten with dumplings, and I think Sister had pizza, which was pretty curious. And I think the best takeaway from all this to me was that this happened. Because a lot of restaurants probably weren't ready for the amount of people. A lot of the stuff where it says aus, that means they're out of food for that specific thing. So Brody's must have really run them down after the convention. But I realized one thing, I kind of need to go back to Equestria, and it's already nighttime, so the portal may have closed, so used a bit of time travel magic. Twilight taught me that one, but that meant that I was able to experience the sunset for the second time, every pony. So I told everyone goodbye because I had to go to Equestria, and I think they understood, and so I took off, flapped my wings firmly, and together with Sister, we buzzed off back into Equestria, every pony. And there is the portal to Equestria, and the bad thing is if you go too close to it, human cameras don't really work and they will break. But ponies, that was my adventures at Galacon, and I will of course show you my loot at the outro. And here we are. What an amazing journey this weekend was, eh? But let's take a look at the results, shall we? Over here, we have the Izzy shirt with the signature on it, together with the card. To the right, we have one of the posters. And let's see. Let's go further to the right, shall we? We have another Izzy shirt. That looks a little blurry, I know. But we have a mouse mat at the bottom. We have Whirlwind's button and stickers. We have a Yike. We have the scrolls with Twilight and Fluttershy. And going further to the bottom, there. You see the light thingy? You see it a little bit up close? That's one of those things from the stand. And to the left, if we go over here, we see those are 2 badges. We got a few cards, and of course the keychain that you get from Galacon thingy where your name tag is. But I think that's a pretty good haul, and of course, this is what the light thingy looks like. I think that looks pretty fancy. And that pretty much brings me to the end of my Galacon experience. For those of you who've been there, what have your experience has been like? Tell me about in the comments. And ponies, in only about 2 weeks, I'm gonna be at another convention. Matter of fact, I might already be back in about 2 weeks from now and working on the video. Alright, ponies, but I suppose with that, I thank all you lovely ponies so much for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye. And remember, ponies, go to conventions. It's fire. Also, if you want to see more videos like this, make sure to subscribe to the channel, be notified whenever there's a new video, and there's new stuff every single day, including a pony who has got 2 more conventions coming up in the recent months. That's gonna be a good time.